One second. We are live on Facebook, we're on Zoom, and I am going to start my slides. Hold on one second. Okay, perfect. Did everybody have a good 4th of July weekend? Oh, there's Allie and Casey, I think. Yep. Morning. Hope you guys had a great holiday weekend. I felt like I needed yesterday, even after Monday, to get back in the swing of things and get caught up. Let's start how we normally start. That should say holiday, not holidays. There was only one. Type in the chat something that you're grateful for today. If you can, if you're driving, don't do it, but would love to hear. Sarah Weber is on. Oh my goodness. Yay. Nikki's driving. Everybody's here today. I'm loving it. Okay. Type in the chat one thing that you are grateful for today. If you can, pretty please. And let's think about gratitude. And I had a lot that I was just thinking about this morning, just trying to think about. Oh, Andrew's on. Awesome. Thankful for waking up in another day. Yes, that is a very, very, very good one. And this morning I was thinking about being thankful for my health. I know many people who have been sick, and I feel like we always say that, but until you get sick and you know what it's like to not be healthy, then you're like, oh my gosh, man, now I'm like really grateful for it. Oh my gosh, that's right. 2 years ago, your husband started chemo, and I'm so thankful for him. Love it, Nikki. Thanks for sharing. That is amazing, 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 amazing. Anybody else want to type something that they are grateful for today in the chat? I don't know if she's on today, but I'm super grateful for my sister-in-law, Caitlin. She has been helping me. We are like a little close to 30 days out from Adam and I's wedding, and I'm like not prepared whatsoever. And so Caitlin has been helping me so much, and I'm so grateful for her. Grateful for loving family. Yes. Oh, Jess, got to see your niece and nephew. Love it. Sarah Weber, where are you going on vacation finally? I need to know that. Oh, Florida.
We're going to take Dolly. I'm so excited.
Are you really?
I told her if she's good, she gets to come to the wedding. So
okay.
We'll see.
Just for those of you wondering, that's her dog. Oh, yeah. I love it. Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, guys. So we're going to do something that I've never done before, and that is we're going to repeat a Wednesday morning mindset. However, I have a purpose behind it. So this was the one that I shared the very first week in January. And I loved what John Maxwell says. If you don't deal with yesterday, you won't be able to see tomorrow. And so in the beginning of January, we said goodbye to 2021 and hello to 2022. And we talked about reflecting on your year and setting your goals and your vision board for the year. So I admittedly typically look at mine a lot more than I have the last probably quarter. And so I busted it back out yesterday, and I want us to talk about this, only pretend like it's not at the end of the year, pretend like that we're at the middle of the year, like we are. And I just want to do a check-in, because I think sometimes actually, let me back up. Linda McKissick, being one of my favorite people and mentors, taught me that sometimes we don't go deep enough on stuff. We look at something one time, or we bring it up once, but we don't go deep on it. We forget about ever going back to it again. So that was really why I wanted to do this today. So I want to think about number one, creating time to reflect. So John said, you have to make time to reflect. You have to value reflection. And I just want you guys to think about reflecting on and if anybody wants to comment in the chat, I would love to hear it. But I just want you to reflect on the first half of your year so far and how it's been. How has your business been? How have your relationships been? How's your personal life? How's your health is a really big one for me this year. How are you reflecting? And then when you think about reflecting, what do you feel? And then what do you know? And so not necessarily about last year. Think about this year so far, year to date. When you feel something, it's your intuition area. and it might be a particular area that you are gifted in. It might be your unique ability. What you know is a fact. So like what intuitively, how do you feel about your first half of 2022? And then what are the facts? What do you know that has happened? And I just want you guys to take a minute and think about that. And even maybe write that down so that you can think about it over the next really month, because I don't know, I meant to ask Siri and I didn't before we hopped on here, because the dogs were like hungry. That's a whole nother thing. But Frankie, for almost 14 years, has never been a breakfast dinner dog. Like he just eats whenever he wants. And now all of a sudden he has to have breakfast like as soon as he wakes up, and he wants to eat right before he goes to bed. So he was like crying to eat. So I didn't get to ask Siri how many days are left in this year. If anybody knows, type them in the chat. But I just want you to think about what's happened so far this year. And then I want you to think about your calendar. And I want you to think about your word of the year. If anybody had a word of the year, will you type it in the chat? I would love to see what it was. Mine was impact. And I definitely have been having that like everywhere and bringing it to everything that I do. Susan, I love consistency. That's such a great one. Abby's was intentional. Abby, I remembered yours. Yep. Who else had a word of the year this year? Allie, thank you. There's 148 days left in the year. 148 days left in 2022. So this is the perfect time to do this. Who else had a word of the year? Would love to have type it in the chat. I just want to challenge you to remember it, and how many times are you thinking about your word of the year, and where are you using it, and how is it showing up in your life? Andrew, that's one of my favorite quotes. Bloom where you're planted. Love it. That's such a good word, bloom. I've never thought about that. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. Look over. Of course, Jen Vickers counted the days down for us. Yes, I love it. Thank you, Jen. And then I want you to think about your calendar. Look at your victories for the year to date so far. And then I want you to think about the places that you've won first. And then I want you to just look back. A lot of you know I live and breathe by my paper calendar. I have to print out the whole year. And I do everything on these pieces of paper. I still put things on my phone, but everything lives on these month at a glance, because John Maxwell actually taught me this. And I think Gary Keller still does this too, but when you are looking at a calendar, if you can't see your whole month at a glance, you don't prioritize the way that you're supposed to. And remember, a lot of you, I challenged to put in your family time and your vacations and all of those things first, the things that were really important to you, because if we don't, then what happens? We get sucked up by work and everything else that we're doing, and we don't do those things. And so we have to put those in. So Adam makes me put ours in pen, and then I put everything else in pencil, because, stuff changes. And when you have OCD, you don't like to scratch things out. But many of you may have done the exercise where you wrote down your 4 priorities for the year. John Maxwell's never changed. His are communication, create, lead, and faith. And then you're to look at your calendar and see where those priorities are showing up. And you want to keep it simple. So maybe this is a good time for you to take half of the year, the second half of the year. If you didn't do this at the beginning of the year, or if you did and you forgot, what are 4 priorities that you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year when it comes to just your life, your personal life, your business, your family, your health, all of those things. And then where are they on your calendar? And then let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Next is observations. John always talks about writing down observations of the year. Oh my gosh, my clicking is not good today. Sorry, guys. So I want you to think about maybe it's time blocking to write down some observations for your first half of the year. What do you see when you look at the first half of the year? Some of John's last year where he didn't give enough margin time for himself. And so because of that, his exercise and his diet got affected. And he had a priority shift in his speaking because he was doing more speaking. And so he needed to make a priority shift in his calendar. So making observations when you look back, one of my big priorities this year was to be more intentional with just friends and family and time away from work, because I can unfortunately work 24/7. And so I really wanted to be more intentional with just trips and times and being able to say yes to those things. And actually, I was kind of proud of myself because when I look back at my calendar, my previous pages for the year, I just found a note from Adam that I've never seen before in my little notebook planner. That was nice. Thank you, honey, if you're watching. When I look back at my all my months before, I do feel like I have been intentional. So I want you to look and see and make some observations on your time. And then I want you to think about who you should share these things with. And he said, John says, this is where you begin to be successful when you get 2 or 3 people around you, because they will help you achieve the things that you want. And you have to really put those out there and share them with other people. I have definitely people that help hold me accountable to the things that I want to accomplish. And especially when it comes to family time, Adam and I really have to hold each other accountable to that. So I want you to think about lining up 3 things: what you feel, what you know, and what you think. And this is just a really great reflection exercise for you to do on your first half of the year. I would love for any of you to type in the chat, do you feel like you are on track with what you set at the beginning of the year? Midway through, do you feel like you're a little behind and you need to do some catching up? Where do you feel like you are with your year? When I looked at mine, I felt like I was on track with a lot of things and then off track probably with health stuff, which is the one thing that I wanted to be on track with this year. Would love to hear how you guys are. Okay, Susan said behind, but she's getting on track thanks to her mentoring coach. Perfect, love it. Connie said need to catch up a little bit more. Awesome, thank you guys for sharing. I totally agree with that. And I think sometimes too, think about it this way too. If you're off track, that's okay. You just have to know where you're at so that you can get back on track. So I want you to, let's look at this one. I don't know what in the world these are going out of order for. There we go. Okay. So number 5 is make crucial discoveries. When you look back and you reflect over the first half of the year, you will discover things that you had no idea before. So some examples, maybe he said, what discoveries have I made with my calendar? So John's, where activity is not an accomplishment, growth is not automatic. The bookends of success, which are preparation and reflection. Reflection turns into insight. If you're really good at reflection, I would love to know in the chat. I've intended, Linda and I both talk about that. We've intended to get better at reflection instead of just being on to the next thing, and actually reflecting on some things. And then another one of John's, I love, the fastest doesn't win. It's the person who starts first. And lately, I feel like we've had a lot of changes happening. For those of you that are in the real estate industry, well, really any industry. I've been studying others, and everything is changing. We have so much change going on right now. And I do believe that the person who starts first and just gets into action. And so one of the things that I wanted to reflect on and look at with my calendar is, how long am I like pondering and waiting to do some things versus just like getting into action and actually starting, because action will create the momentum around it. And then remember, John says what we started with, if you don't deal with yesterday, you won't be able to see tomorrow. So I would love for you guys to ask yourself these questions for the second half of the year. And remember, all this has to do with your mindset, because when you are in a good place with these things, your mindset is automatically in a better place and you feel better. So what needs to change the second half of the year? What must be fueled? So what do you need to add fuel to? Meaning, what do you need to pour into more, pay more attention to, spend more time on, ramp up a little bit more? And then who's going to be responsible for this? Do you need to hire someone? I love that Susan said that she's a little behind, but now she has a coach that's helping her get into gear, and get on those things. So what actually does need to change? And then what do you need to do more of? And then, are you a person that can do it yourself, or do you need to have somebody help hold you accountable? Do you need to have a coach? Do you need to have just even an accountability partner? Maybe that would be really good. So I want you to think about that. And then, lastly, number 7 is begin to schedule the things that you want to accomplish. So you want to start to schedule these things that you need to accomplish. So if you haven't been intentional with your calendar, I would challenge you to get intentional with a month at a glance calendar between now and the end of the year. I also don't know about you guys, but when it tends to get summer, sometimes I can fall off. And then also when we tend to get into fall or the holidays, Sarah knows this, but as soon as it gets to be like a cool fall temperature and I can go do fall things and holiday things, this can go out the window. So you have to really be intentional with looking at your month at a glance. So build your calendar first. It says for the new year, but remember, I really want you guys to think about building it for the second half of the year. And a lot of you guys are doing good vacations right now. I think I saw Ashley Marchand. I know they're doing like a trip around the country or something crazy right now that I'm really jealous of. So you might just need to have like a good come back from your summer time off and your vacations and kind of get back engaged with that. Many of you may have already done that. And so I want to challenge you to relook at your calendar, build it out a month at a glance for the end of the year, put in your important family things, any more vacations that are happening. And then I want you to bust back out your vision board. And if you didn't do a vision board, it's not too late. You can always do a vision board. You can do it at any time of the year. I want you to think about doing your vision board and looking at it again. So like I said, I haven't been looking at mine as much. And so today when I looked at it, I was like, oh man, I still have a little bit more to do. So here was mine for the year. If you need the link, by the way, just email me or message us. If you didn't create one on Canva, you can do it. It's like $19. We don't make money off of it. It's just to pay for the Canva upgraded version. But I was looking at mine, and honestly, it helps me to share with you guys because it holds me accountable to mine, to put mine out there for the world. Oh, thank you, Heather. Yes, it is linked on the website, which is danagentry.com. Just FYI, remember there's 2 G's in there. So I was looking, I still haven't gotten my Tesla because I should have pulled the trigger at the beginning of the year. Now they're like 3 times the price is what they were at the end of the year last year. But I am proud, really proud to report, and I almost didn't share this because I don't want to jinx myself, but being as I only have 2 days left, last year, I really tried for my 365 days of morning Bible study streak. For those of you that do the app, and some of you may remember because I almost jumped off a bridge. I missed a day at like 320, I think. I was so close. And this morning I'm at 363. So I have 2 more days left to hit my year streak of doing my Bible app in the morning. And I'm like, nothing is going to stop me the next 2 days. But looking at other things on here, we got our annual girls trip in, which was really, really great. Our 1 team goals are kicking into gear. I'm less than 30 days away from our wedding. Frankie is going to be 14 this month, and he's healthy and he's getting acupuncture. I know you guys think that's hilarious, but he's on it with his health. I'm more, thank you, Nikki, thank you. I'm more worried about Frankie's health than I am mine. So that's why mine has gotten off. But I just want you guys to take a look back and remember when you're doing your vision boards, it's for you, like no judgment. I mean, put whatever you want on there. I love one time I heard Gene Rivers. I think Gene Rivers was the one who said this. There can be ego in your vision board. It's okay for you to have things on there that you are excited about or that you want. And it might not mean that you're going to accomplish them this year, but you might have them on there because you want to accomplish them eventually. I try to really focus on like a year at a time, things that I really want to accomplish in 1 year. And then I've also had our Florida beach house on here for I think the last 2 years. But be selfish with your vision board for the year. It should be about you and what you really want to accomplish and what you really want to do. And a lot of times we take time to focus on everybody else but ourselves. And so I think this is the one area that it's good for you to pour into yourself. Thanks to Heather finding a great deal. I think I'm going to get my 2 rentals knocked off with a triplex. So hopefully that'll be good. Thank you, Heather. That is being built, hopefully getting ready to start being built soon. But so just revisit your vision boards. And if anybody needs help with this, or you don't know what to do, reach out to me and I'm happy to help because I have a passion around vision boards. You guys, if you've made one and you've seen things accomplish and happen, will you type in the chat? Yes, I'm just curious. I'm a firm believer that when you actually put, yes, Angie's waving a big yes. I'm a firm believer that when you really put things out there and you put pictures to them and you look at them and you bring them back, that you can manifest them out there, and that you can really, and there can be manifesting like in a faithful way too. But they really happen. One thing I noticed is I haven't launched my book clubs that I really wanted to do. So I need to work on doing that by the end of the year. So just revisiting your year, go back and think about things that you need to do to get on track. Andrew just said in the chat, you have to speak it into existence. Yes, I totally agree. And I would love to hear from you. So if you go back and look at your stuff, let me know. And if you are a busy bee right now and you have a lot of stuff going on, I still want to challenge you to go do these exercises, reflect on your first half of the year, look back at your calendar, look back at your vision board. Maybe some things need to change, or maybe you need to add some things, fuel some things, whatever that is, but get it into motion so that you can feel really good about finishing your year strong, and that will get you in a great mindset. Sound good? Awesome. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Nikki's getting her walk on. I'm jealous, it looks like. See you guys. Thanks for being on. See you next week.